Hello everyone and welcome to this round 3 match at the Worcester Sheriff event. On the left here we've got Des playing Desolation Row against Dan on the right. You may know Dan online as Whizwang. He does some Doomtown videos himself as well. Oh, Des is trying to show the camera something but has failed miserably. Dan on the right as well, he's playing Gadgetorium with a fairly standard starting posse. Kyle, William, Irving, Jake and Travis. I think perhaps Travis would be the only slightly interesting one. It's unusual perhaps for that grifter. I personally don't like to play a grifter with my Gadgetorium deck. There's very few bad hands, but I think Dan's going for a shooty Gadgetorium deck, so Travis perhaps he's looking for particular things in his starting hand. Travis as well, just as a casualty sink if need be. So Kyle going to invent the Biocharge Neutralizer. That succeeds. Not using the Gadgetorium there, and by the looks of it with the 8's values, that's why he doesn't want to use it. The 8's will fail the Biocharge Neutralizer. Fred running the Desolation Row job. It's not actually booted the Desolation Row home yet. Circle M for Dan. So that's going to give him some card draw and the control points. I think maybe he's might have another gadget in hand to invent with William. Otherwise, I'd use William's ability there to reduce the cost. Mayor's office for Des. Dan using Circle M. Showing him the Joker he's just pulled. Very keen with that. So Des on the left, perhaps a more unusual Desolation Row outfit. I think he's running a Dead Man's Hand Desolation Row deck. He's got Barton in his starting posse, Marion and Fred Ames, so he's obviously going to try and get that influence with Fred running the Desolation Row job. I suspect he's running rapiers on the jacks to give to Marion to become the stud and get the bullet bonus. It's a nice combination there, and Dan's just going back. He's using specs to invent the Circle M Ranch. I think unless he had another gadget, perhaps. The only thing there is if you're drawing a gadget, then sort of drawing the Joker, you obviously then use it, but you do have the chance of Circle M of drawing a gadget that you might want to play with Williams. So I don't think any hard done. I think you probably would there want to do it. Travis going to the Circle M, I think just to protect if Des goes after it. 2 control points Des at the moment with the Mayor's office. A very good deed, I think. The ability to add or remove influence from dudes, as well as being worth 2 control points, with a fair cost to income ratio, 4-2. It's a good money maker. So Barton and Marion in Town Square. Perhaps something going to happen here. I'll see, because although I'm not sure what Des has got to play in his hand, I'm not an expert or know too much about the Dead Man's Hand decks. Obviously, I think you very much play with the anticipation that even if you don't hit the Dead Man's Hand, as long as you have got a reasonable stud rating, you always get a full house or better. And the Dead Man Hand is just a bonus to really sort of push it over the edge and make sure you get the shootout win. But you do want to be trying to play those off value cards. So starting your job, meeting your boss. And that's a good way to get rid of those jacks that you don't want to see in the Dead Man's Hand. Dan's not going to oppose that, and I think yes, it's fairly railroad station for Dan. So it's 3 control points to Des against 2 for Dan. So it could be a quick paced game here. Quite a lot of control points on the table. Not huge amount of influence. 5 for Dan, 6 for Des. So only 2 control points away from both sides being able to be put in check. But obviously Des does have the advantage that his control points, one of his control points on Barton isn't actually able to be moved. El Grajo over for Dan, so perhaps playing jacks as well on his, so 8 jacks and queens, I think maybe. The high value. I'm trying to think. I sort of saw a force field in his gadget pull earlier, so. But I've got a vague recollection. This is Dan is running Quaterman, so it's an interesting deck. Full house for Des in the low ball. I don't think he's going to win many low balls in this game. I think Dan's probably got a bit of a looser structure. I think Dan just having a look through the discard pile there, possibly looking to see how many Jack of Diamonds. Obviously, that's the real limiter in. Yes, so Dan has just realised it's a Dead Man's Hand deck. And I think Desolation Row is probably the best outfit for Dead Man's Hand at the moment. I think I've seen some Morgan decks, but not a popular. I don't think Law Dog or Fourth Ring or any of the new. Because the problem with Fourth Ring, you want to be running on. It's those Eight of Hearts. What you play on Eight of Hearts that is good. And so yeah, Quaterman there for Dan. So I think they will always invent. So they will fail the buy neutralizer pools if he does try and invent, but uses the Gadgetorium there to think. So Rapier, yeah, that's going on Marion. So there we go, another Jack. Yes, because it's just trying to Eight of Hearts. I think there's not a huge choice of things. The Flamethrower, obviously, a force field, quick draw handgun, I suppose is perhaps most default, but then the evidence. Dumbstruck, Paralysis Marks, Spirit Dance, and the Law Provides. I mean, none of those. The problem with any sort of the miracles or the miracles or the hexes is that your aces in your demo hand are going to fail those pools, and I don't think you really want a third of your deck failing the pools or to run a much fewer. I think so. Marion and Barton to the town square. Perhaps run another Desolation Road job here. Des not got a huge amount of money. I'm not sure. El Grajo coming to the town square. Being moved with the railroad station. The railroad station. A very good deed for moving into the town square, and I think, or even to opposing deeds. I think any deed or any sort of ability that allows you to move a dude who is in a position where he would boot to move, but it does not boot him. So like the railroad station, the new totems with the Eagle Wardens, and the home ability on the 108. I think that's why they're very popular, the 108, for their landslide, because they've got those movements, keep them unbooted or allow you to move even if you're booted. Fancy New Hat went on the Quaterman. I think I missed that while I was talking about other things. Yeah, so those abilities, because it also prevents you from being. Because the problem is booty, with getting booted as well, is you get called out, and with those sort of landslidey decks, or perhaps in weaker shooters, if you get called out, you're unlikely to win those shootouts, even if your opponent is playing very few stud bullets or very few draw bullets. Even with maybe one or two stud, they can come over and be fairly confident in beating you. So could have a shootout here in the town square. Note, Specs is going to invent a Lulu exploit. And William Specs, I think, is a great card for gadget decks. Not only for being a mad scientist too, so he's going to be pretty reliable, either to invent gadgets, being able to use the Gadgetorium ability, but also as well, just the fact you can play so many ranches which are on value at a reduced cost. I mean, reducing the cost by 2 for every ranch you play makes them extremely good. So Circle M becomes a 1 with 2 production. Lulu's Exploit becomes 2 with 2 production. Blake Ranch 2 with 3 production. Cattle Market 2 for 2 production. It's just very good. So we're having a fight in the town square. I think most of Dan's zero influence dudes are going to come out. The Quaterman, the only one with influence so far. Travis going as well. And I think Des is going to have all his dudes in the posse as well. I'd say somewhat surprised he's not running Desolation Road job here with Fred. Just going for the call out. It would give him more influence and sort of prolong this game a lot longer. So Des is trying to use Marion's ability to become a stud and stop the biocharge neutralizer, but I think it's something that Marion. So you can't boot the biocharge neutralizer. Biocharge neutralizer cannot be booted or cannot be affected by opponents. It can be traded or not affected by other players' card effects, and so it can't be booted. So Marion is not going to get the bonus from the Rapier. He's still going to be a stud, so he'll still be a 3 stud with the Bartons for a 4 stud total, but he's not going to get the Rapier bullets, and it does mean, well, Carl would still maintain his +2 stud bullets, but he just he basically doesn't give the plus bullets from rapier, which that's what you're looking for in a dead man hand deck, is just to get as many stud bullets as possible, because you're limited to 6 cards that can complete the dead man hand. You're okay on the aces and eights because you're you've got you're sort of looking for, it's 4 of each of those cards, so it's only the jack of diamonds that completes the dead man hand. So if you want to go for the dead man hand instead of a full house, then you've got to find your eights, your aces, and then your jacks as well. And so the more cards you draw, the more chance you've got of drawing into that. So make the smart choice. Sorry, make them sweat. Being used by Marion. So he's going to reduce Kyle by 3 stud bullets. So Dan, I think, is going to go here for 2 draw and 3 stud. Yeah, so 2 draw and 3 stud for Dan, against 4 stud and 1 draw for Des. So expect at least a full house here from Des. Not sure about Dan. It's difficult to tell. I mean, he's obviously got the 3s, I think, off value for his Quatermans. Dan just having a look through his discard pile, see what he wants to redraw, what things he's most likely, and that's important, I think, is when you've got draw hands and you're trying to figure out to complete your flush. Sorry, not your flush, your full house, or maybe your 4 of a kind. Is you're looking to see which of your cards, which discards or your values you've got most of in your discard pile. So, and then therefore which ones you've got most of in your deck to give you the most chance of. Say for example you've got 3 pairs. And you obviously you've got 2 draw. You have to discard one of those pairs, and it's which pair do you want to get rid of? You want to keep the other 2 pairs. So dead man hand for Des, my first one on camera, against full house for Dan. So that's 4 ranks. So 2 aces. I imagine yet Travis and El Grajo. Travis though taking you with me. So yeah, there's the queens. So they don't all have more bullets than Travis. None of them actually have more bullets than Travis. It's 2, 2, and 3. So it's going to take a casualty there. And I think it has to be Marion, although they're all 2 influence. But then Barton does have the control point. But I mean, you could lose Barton, but the illegal hand rank is probably going to give you an edge in some fights. And playing with the taking you with me on Dan, you're sort of thinking what cheating resolutions are you going to have? Jack, fly to the Lepus. Okay, that's going to send Doomtown booted, but that's not causing you to lose dudes. He's playing taking you with me on Queen, so he's not running a full suite of it's not what you know. 8s, I don't think we've seen him play any 8s, so it's probably that This Will Hurt in the Morning, perhaps is the only one, but with a very tight deck structure, you've always got a chance of redrawing into the full house with This Will Hurt in the Morning. It's not a guaranteed loss. Anyway, so yep, so Des loses Marion. I think that's the right choice. And the question is, are they both going to stay? I think Dan probably wants to stay. I mean, he's got Irving. Only 2 dudes left for Des, and even if he loses here, he's still on 5 influence, and so Des can't win the game. He's unlikely to be. I think there is a Lula's exploits just off the table. Let's not forget. So I think Dan's happy with the game, sort of going on longer. I think Dan just determined whether he can deadman's hand. Des, I don't think can. I think he's got too many of one of the values, unless he draws his jacks. His jokers. So Dan's going to stay. Des is just deciding whether he stays or not. No, he's going to go home booted. So yeah, so Dan just explained that there's I think 3 8 of clubs and 3 aces, ace of spades, so he's got a very, very low chance of redrawing into the dead man's hand. He's got to basically pull both of those cards on 2 stud and 1 draw, which just very, very unlikely, isn't he? I mean, he looks there, he's got about half his deck left. So full house going to be his best. Irving to town square. Rumours on Irving, but rumours on Irving again, but I think that could be game because the mayor's office has been used to reduce Fred or Barton's thing, and that is game. That's a bit unfortunate. Des, I think he could have saved himself there if he rumoured Irving on the move to town square. But the problem is letting Irving get to the mayor's office, or he could have used the mayor's office even to reduce Irving, which I don't think he would have had enough control points. Because Jake would still have moved in, but I think they're just the player's just going through whether he could have stopped him. I think they could have. So I don't think he would have lost Des, but he would have been on the back foot. So thanks for watching. Much shorter game than the previous two. Next will be round 4. I think we've got some more gadget decks coming up. So if you do like your gadgets, do stay tuned for the next video. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.